My professor hid all the exam answers in his overpriced, self-published book. I was the only one who bought it, figured it out, and started a $20K tutoring business based on the secrets. Now I might get expelled for it. I'm in a serious jam with my university's academic integrity board, but I genuinely believe I'm not in the wrong here. I feel like I just created a successful startup based on a market inefficiency, but they're calling me a cheat. A mandatory third-year econometrics course taught by a Professor Albright. The class is notoriously difficult, with a historical fail rate of over 40%. The villain of our story is Albright's textbook, a dense, self-published tome titled Signal and Scarcity, a unified framework. He sells it exclusively through the campus bookstore for the criminal price of $220. It's not available anywhere else, new or used. He constantly pushes it, claiming you cannot possibly pass without his unique intellectual framework. Naturally, no one bought it. We all tried to get by on his lectures, which were confusing and abstract. After the midterm, the class average was a 48%. I got a 52%. I was desperate. With my scholarship on the line, I bit the bullet and bought the book. The first 100 pages were exactly as I feared. Incomprehensible jargon and self-congratulatory nonsense. But then I noticed something. In a chapter about predictive models, there was a bizarrely specific example about the projected price of Argentinian soybean futures in Q3. It was so out of place. Then I looked back at our first quiz. One of the impossible-to-answer questions was exactly that. I started frantically cross-referencing. Every single random example, every obscure footnote, every chart in that book corresponded perfectly to a question on one of our quizzes or the midterm. He wasn't just teaching from the book was a literal answer key he had written himself. It was an open book test, except he was the only one selling the book. This wasn't education, it was a grift. And I decided to get my $220 worth. I aced the next quiz, then the one after that. Soon, people were begging me for help, and that's when the business idea hit me. I wasn't going to just give them the answers, that's amateur-level cheating. I was going to sell a premium service. I launched the Albright Success Workshop. It was a high-end tutoring service. I created slick, proprietary study guides, which were just reformatted and simplified notes from the book's hidden clues. I ran sessions where I would guide students through the Albright methodology, leading them directly to the answers without ever showing them the book. Business exploded. I started with a fee of $50 per session. By the time the final exam rolled around, I had a tiered system. Tier 1, $100, a 2-hour group review. Tier 2, $400. The finals prep package with my guides. Tier 3, $800. The A-grade guarantee, including one-on-one sessions. Over the semester, I cleared just over $20,000. I paid for my next 2 semesters in cash. The problem? The class average for the final exam was an 88%. Albright knew something was up. Someone who couldn't afford my workshop eventually snitched. Albright got a hold of one of my study guides, compared it to his book, and had a meltdown. Now I'm facing expulsion. My defense is this: I never shared exam questions. I never hacked a computer. I simply created a premium educational service that decoded the required course text and made it accessible. I didn't break the rules. I exploited a broken system designed by a lazy, greedy professor. I was selling the translation of a text, not stolen answers. AITA for becoming the very thing my econometrics professor taught me to be, a rational actor who capitalized on a market opportunity.